Back to school with a Dumbphone. Why ditching the smartphone might be the smartest move this semester. Read to you by Jose Briones and written by me as well. You can read this newsletter and see all the pictures and links. Also, they will be provided in the description of this podcast. This school year, thousands of students will walk into classrooms where smartphones are no longer welcome. From Oklahoma's bell-to-bell restrictions to New York City's full campus prohibition, educators nationwide are aiming to restore stronger academic performance and richer social engagement among students. Senators, governors, and school teachers are responding to growing concerns about tech addiction, mental health, and the erosion of community across our country. As you may know, if you're listening to this podcast, numerous studies have demonstrated that even the mere presence of a smartphone can impair cognitive performance and diminish interpersonal engagement. By removing the devices, schools are hoping to create space for deeper learning, spontaneous creativity, and the kind of boredom that often sparks imagination. I, for one, welcome this change. It's a chance to see what student life looks like without being besieged by non-stop information every moment of the day. It will be daunting for many, however. Thus, in this short piece, I will offer 2 suggestions and some practical recommendations for which device to give your child this learning season. Before we get into device options, let's talk about what this shift means at home. I still remember the thrill of seeing a few friends at school with the newly released Tamagotchi. Feeding that pixelated creature and watching it grow felt like magic. I begged my parents for weeks to get me one. After about 4 very persistent weeks, they finally gave in. I'm sorry to say that I wasn't the most careful digital pet owner. The creature didn't make it to adulthood under my tutelage. Psychologists call my experience mimetic desire. It's the human tendency to look to others as our models and want what they want. It is indeed to be cataloged as one of our most powerful and fascinating traits. Sometimes it's positive. It inspires growth and connection. Other times destructive, fueled by envy and imitation. Yet this trait reveals something about our humanity. We're wired to imitate what we find exciting, useful, or socially rewarding. Thus, when your children come home from school, suddenly deprived of the dopamine hits they used to get from constant phone use, it's natural for them to seek that stimulation. They'll try to find it in television, tablets, or TikTok. This is where parents play a crucial role. Modeling a simpler, more intentional life at home reinforces the shift happening at school. If they come back home and you're indulging in social media, they will imitate and want to do the same. If you're reading a book instead, they may still crave the endless scroll, but the signal will be there. A small whisper that this behavior no longer holds the same weight. This school year is a chance for parents to help kids live through their own eyes, not through a screen. Having addressed some of you as parents, now we get to a little bit of an intermission. This is definitely not in the script for the full article in the newsletter, but I invite you that you click the newsletter because there I put all of the phones that I recommend, whether your child is going to embrace the full retro aesthetic and go with a flip phone. There are some recommendations there. Or maybe they want a smartphone-looking device, it's just that it's restricted and has parental controls. Then there are also a lot of recommendations there, some of them like Bark or Trumi or Wise Phone. And also there are some niche devices like the Light Phone 2, which is the device that I started my digital minimalism journey with. So make sure to click in the description, the link for the newsletter so that you can check out all of those different products that may help you navigate this school year with ease. Having addressed parents, I now turn to something for students. And my recommendation for them and for anyone trying to create a simpler life is to embrace the experiment. Stepping away from the dopamine drip of smartphones can be taxing. Back in 2019, when I first started using the light phone as my daily driver, the transition was bumpy. First, I would feel bored. Sometimes, I was restless. There were moments of genuine frustration when I couldn't access the information I used to have at my fingertips. No podcasts, no music, no maps at that point in time, just calls, text, and an alarm clock. Each time I pull it out, I would laugh. Not because it was funny, but because it felt absurd. This school year will likely feel similar for many students navigating life without a smartphone or smart apps. There will be moments of awkwardness, boredom, and frustration. And that's okay. The first step of the journey is simply to notice those feelings. Try to acknowledge them without judgment. They're not signs that something's wrong. They're signs that something's changing. This is a good reminder that discomfort is part of every journey worth taking. If it weren't, we would all have summited Everest or free-soloed El Capitan by now. Growth demands friction. That doesn't mean you can't have fun. It means you'll have to find sources of offline dopamine. And luckily, our world is filled with them. This is your year to hike a new trail, even if it's just the one behind your neighborhood, read a book cover to cover, maybe for the first time, make something with your hands, like painting, baking, building, repairing something, or sit in silence for 10 minutes a day and finally get a hold of your thoughts. A final suggestion is to start a conversation with a stranger, maybe at the coffee shop, the farmer's market, or the library. Maybe that stranger becomes a friend, maybe something more, or maybe it just remains a stranger. After you have done all or some of these things, you'll realize that you don't need a smartphone to feel alive. You need a life that's worth living for. I hope today's short podcast gave you something to think about. And if you're a parent and you're looking for the suggestions, make sure to go to the link, click it, and I have a lot of links in there that allow you to see and peruse all of the options that you have to send your kid with a safe phone that is not taken by their school because of all of the new restrictions that are placed now in their new environment. If you're listening and you're a kid or a digital minimalist or somebody who just wants a simpler life, I just want to leave that with you, that you do not need a smartphone to have a fulfilling life. You need a life that's worth living for. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.